Just who's on the face of the American paper money? Hello, this is ChartGPT today. You know, you've seen these videos on YouTube where people will challenge people on the street on who's on the face of American paper money, like who's on the $100 bill. Here's a quick clip and give you an example.
For $100, can you tell me what president is on the $100 bill?
Oh God, no! I couldn't tell you to save my life.
You have any idea?
Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
So to make sure you don't lose, those bets on the street, let's go through who exactly is on the face of the U.S. currency. Start off, obviously people know the first one, the $1 bill, is George Washington, of course. It was started back in 1862. The $2 bill, which is still around, but you can find a few of them, but it's still there, and that is Thomas Jefferson on the $2 bill. And no, there's no such thing as a $3 bill. That was back in 1869 as well. The $5 bill was Abraham Lincoln. That was instituted in 1914. The $10 bill, a lot of people don't know this one, but it's fairly common. $10 bills, Alexander Hamilton. He was the Treasury Secretary at that time, back during the Jackson 1914, that era there. And then, of course, the $20 bill, which was some controversies. Andrew Jackson, he was a controversial figure during that time. They're thinking of moving it Harriet Tubman. That hasn't happened yet, but you can take a look at the AI in the story of why that hasn't happened and when it could actually come about. So that's still in the works. So you can still get a few Andrew Jacksons out there, but it may come to an end shortly. Then the $50 bill, don't get too many of those, and basically that's Ulysses S. Grant on the $50 bill. And of course, here's the one that everybody talks about, the Benjamins, and that's the $100 bill, was Benjamin Franklin. It is the largest denomination in circulation, and that was first issued back in 1914. Then the $500 bill is William McKinley. Now, those would be nice to have. Dates back to the 1918, but they've discontinued in those, and the last printed in 1945. Still, there's Americans that still hold $500 bills, but they're virtually not in circulation for well over 50 years. Then we get into the $1,000 bill, Grover Cleveland, and these are discontinued back in 1969. It was last printed in 1945, and yet there's still Americans still hold some of those bills. There's still some out there. Then the $5,000 bill, that's James Madison, and it too is printed back in 1940, last printed in 1945. And the Treasury says Americans continue to hold these notes, so there's a few $5,000 bills out there still. Not many. Then we have the $10,000 bill. Probably the most least known is Salmon P. Chase, a one-time Treasury Secretary, appears on the $10,000 bill. And it too was last printed in 1945. And Treasury says Americans continue to hold those notes. There's still some out there. And of course, the granddaddy of them all is the $100,000 bill. And that is Woodrow Wilson. This is not, it's actually, if you do find one, they're worth over $1 million as collector's item, but they were mainly used for transfer of asset through Federal Reserve back in those days. So they will probably not be seen, but if you do find one, they're probably worth more than their face value because of their numismatic value. Of course, paper money is just that, and there's a lot of consternation. They do eventually want to do away with paper money in favor of central bank digital currency, which is a whole other topic of itself. But people can counterfeit them. I know a lot of countries in Africa still use these as their means of trade. Some of the things you can do to spot a counterfeit bill, nowadays they have security threads, they have watermarks, color shift ink movement, so you kind of can see that. Check out the description box for a link for more details on how to spot a counterfeit. They often have machines nowadays to do that, but eventually this is all going away. But according to the Treasury, about 70 million in counterfeit bills are in circulation. That sounds like a lot, 70 million. But it's about one note in every 10,000 in genuine currency is counterfeit. So, and again, of course, people still use them. You can see that the amount of counterfeit bills in circulation has been steadily dropping. The most common, obviously, is the 100. There's a lot of dollar and $100 bills. The one has declined the most, I guess, is the 20s. They're getting rid of the 20s, so they're declining rapidly. But all these bills will be rapidly declining. Give us your take how long do you think it'll be before there will be no paper currency in circulation? 1, 5, 10, or never? And don't forget to subscribe.